Coming up on today's show, we're recapping the biggest news from Gamescom 2022, and as you can see, we've got some special guests. What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I am Andrea Renee, joined by once again burping Brittany Brombacher in the studio.
Brittany's bubble is here, reporting for duty.
Riana Manuel Pena is here.
What's good?
And Danny Pena is here as well.
I'm back.
Yay!
Welcome back to the studio. We have to give a huge congratulations to you, Danny, on your children's book.
Yes.
Danny loves video games. Go ahead and show it. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. But that is a sneak peek of the book that is coming out next month. And, of course, Brittany is here in Los Angeles in person for the first time since February 2020.
Amazing. Smells so good in here. It smells so familiar
That
in
plexiglass
here.
cleaner, I'm telling you.
It's great. I got whiskey. I'm just living my best life.
I'm so glad that you're back.
Yes.
It's wonderful. And we're all here together to talk about a big week in video games. But before we do that, I want to say thank you to this month's Patreon producers, Chewy's Godson, Alex Rogopoulos, Farah Satia, Justin Foshi, Matthew Godair, and Punctified. And if you want to support and join our Patreon community at patreon.com/what'sgoodgames, like Linda Harley did, we would appreciate and love to see you there. Britt, we also have some new podcast reviewers.
We do. Shout out to BMGIA, who says, I listen every week at work, and I can't get enough. So relatable, so funny. Also, I live in the Midwest. It's cool and rare to hear someone say North Dakota or Fargo on a podcast.
Yay! Shout out to my Fargo brethren. Let's go. All I can think about now is some turkey wild rice soup.
What?
Is that a Fargo thing?
Yeah, it's a specialty. Well, it's not a Fargo thing. It's like an upper Midwest thing. It's technically a Minnesota thing, but we've got it a lot in North Dakota too.
Say Fargo for me.
Fargo.
Fargo.
I don't know. That word doesn't really have the same O's and A's punch that I think that you're looking for, but
I don't know why I always add an I to Fargo.
Fargo.
it's just your thing.
Fargo.
That's okay.
Fargo.
It could be your thing.
It sounds like the name of somebody in like a Game of Thrones or something.
Fargo.
Fargo.
Come forth, Fargo. Fargo. Oh my gosh, I've had whiskey.
Yes, we have indeed,
Been
everybody.
great. We were good last night, though. We didn't drink at night.
We didn't drink at night. It's
No,
true.
and that's rare for us, you guys. Like, really rare.
No drinking during the live stream.
I don't
Oh,
know
we
what you're
absolutely
talking about,
did.
Danny. What?
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
No,
just-
I mean, I'm
just
not
saying.
tonight.
There were some beverages imbibed during the opening night live watch along, which, by the way, if you guys missed it, you can go to either twitch.tv/what'sgoodgames or youtube.com/what'sgoodgames and catch our watch along and our live reacts. But we're also going to be talking just a little bit about what we saw here, but we're not going to be going over everything that happened during the opening night live stream because it was a lot.
Ooh, like over 40 games featured in
games.
just that 2-hour period.
And you guys covered it over on X-Play, Danny, right?
Yes, we did. Oh my God, that stream was so long. Yeah, we covered. We talked about like the highlights because it was just too long. So yeah, you want to start now? Or you want to?
Yeah, what was the highlight for you?
For me, Killer Clowns. I'm excited
Ooh.
for that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, 3 versus 7. That's gonna be very interesting to see. That one, Dead Island 2, of course, High on Life. I just love the boss battle. It reminded me of Mega Man, kind of like the old school.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we interviewed Justin Rowland and he was saying that you could select the bosses similar to like Mega Man.
Oh, like
Okay.
out of
Again.
order.
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of.
you could do that. So yeah, I'm very excited to play that. Plus, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, I
Try it out.
mean, that's a good
That's
value.
a very
Great
good value.
value.
So let's talk about Dead Island 2, because when we did our post-show thoughts, I was admittedly disappointed
You didn't
in
get
the
a HUD.
reveal for Dead Island 2. I think the leak kind of spoiled, obviously, that big reveal at the end of the stream, but what we saw, I was like, this just feels like more of the same of what we've already seen. How did you feel about it?
More the same in what way? Because I didn't see this. I think it's very different than the first one. I think less buggy. I hope. Yeah, but the only
Fingers
thing,
crossed.
the only thing that I was saying during the whole time during the stream, that Dead Island taking place in LA. LA is not enlightening, so I don't know what's.
Ooh, I see where you're going.
Yeah, right.
Dead country.
Unless they're gonna make it Catalina.
Unless the parts of LA just went away, I guess, because of an earthquake or something. Yeah. So I don't know. And I want to know more about like how you customize like your weapons.
Right.
It's similar to like the first one. Is it 4-player co-op or what?
Are you
Is there
saying
more
you would have
players?
liked to see some gameplay from their gameplay trailer?
I mean, they did show gameplay trailer. I mean, not gameplay trailer. They showed
HUD-less
gameplay.
gameplay.
well, it was snippets of
yeah.
gameplay.
I mean, they showed something, so that means they're kind of confident to show it this early. I mean, and they said it's coming out in February, so.
To me, a game coming out in February, which is what, 5 months away? Almost 6 months away, between 5 and 6 months away, is really soon. That game should be mostly built. They should probably be in polish. If they're changing anything, it's not major gameplay systems or design or narrative, etc. It's, some balancing potentially, or adding in, some assets, things like that. I mean, when you're that close to certification, because this game, with the holidays at the end of the year, if it's coming out that soon, I mean, this game has got to be almost ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely got to have a hands-on event later this year.
You think they are?
I mean, they have
They
to.
have to have
I hope
They
so.
have to. But here's the thing. Now, back then, it was a lot different with games where they start promoting like a year before. Now, I think it was Bethesda that started this trend where they said Fallout is coming out this year, and it was like, what, 2 months away or something
4
like that?
months was
Oh,
it? Yeah, from E3 to launch in November. Yeah.
I think that was like the closest, and nobody was expecting that at all. So let's see. Maybe this year we'll get to see more, like a preview event or something like that. Maybe we'll change your mind.
I wish we would have gotten a look at maybe what a quest would look like. And that reveal, like Andrea was saying, if you're this close to release, like something, show some weapon crafting, show something. We saw some really cool dismemberment, which is awesome. But I wanted to know more of like, what is this going to look like? How are the mechanics going to be, how are they going to flesh out? Speaking of flesh, transition. Dead Island 2 game director talked about this new internal system they have called Flesh, which stands for Fully Locational Evisceration System for Humanoids.
Amazing.
Somebody worked really hard on that.
Okay. Well, this system allows players to slice, dice, chop, dismember, melt, bludgeon, and break zombies in all kinds of spectacular and stylish ways, and it's fully procedural. Hey. So we have
Okay.
So, and I mean, like, seeing what we saw, like I
Well,
said,
let's show that then.
well, that's what I'm getting at. We saw a cool, like, a head got cut off. Great. But the combat, even the combat we did see, though, and maybe they were showing that and we didn't know it, it didn't get me all hot and bothered and hyped. I was excited to see Dead Island 2 because anyone knows I love me a good zombie game, but I didn't see anything about this that's like, this is going to do something different. This is going to be exciting. It's not 2014 where you slap zombie on a label and it sells like hotcakes. We are all kind of burned out of that.
Do you think that every game has to be something new every
No,
time it comes
not
out?
something new, but there has to be something. And when I think of Dead Island, I think of the weapons. I think of the crafting. I think of the area. I think of like what is going to draw me to this. When I hear a zombie game, I think, okay, I'm probably going to go around and just like kill a bunch of zombies. Cool, do a dumb, boring, meaningless quest and move on. Because like I want more from my video games now than I did back then. It's not enough just to have zombies in it. And maybe I'm being salty right now, but
I don't think you're
more.
being salty. Your expectations have changed since we originally talked about this game in 2014.
I can't
right?
believe that was 2014.
I posted
Props-
a photo from
props to you.
E3 2014 from the Dead Island 2 party that happened at E3 that year. And that's literally how long it's been since we were talking about the development of this game. And Dambuster Studios took over development 4 years ago. Deep Silver is still the publisher. And I don't want to spend our entire opening night live segment like poo-pooing the reveal of Dead Island 2, because I think even if this game isn't perfect, I'm going to have fun.
And
a
that's
la
it.
Saints Row, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. But I was just a little disappointed after so many years that they're going to come out with the official reveal or re-reveal of this property, and that was what they showed, especially when they took a moment with one of the members of the team, Khan, I believe is what their name was, to talk about how they're going to show gameplay on stage, and it was just more montages. And I would have preferred like 4 minutes of uncut, continuous combat.
Yeah, full
Similar-
vertical slice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like Redfall, they show
Yes.
gameplay,
They
no
showed
Yes.
this
editing.
piece of a mission.
Yeah.
Correct.
Look, years ago, I remember I went to, I think it was E308. And it went on stage.
Just a couple years ago.
Couple years ago.
Just a few.
I was processing that.
Sorry, it just
No,
feels
it's
it
all
was.
good, man.
Anyways,
No sweat.
Remedy was on stage and they were showing Alan Wake for the first time. I hated that presentation. I was like, this thing is trash. Like, I'm not gonna like it. That was my favorite game of the Xbox 360 when it came out. So what I'm saying is, sometimes companies, maybe it just have a bad presentation, but maybe the gameplay and the actual game when it comes out is pretty good. You never know.
Still
Sure.
hopeful. Still hopeful.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm definitely gonna.
Whenever
play it.
I get asked to talk about a game people hate that you love, I always talk about Dead Island Riptide. So I am definitely interested in this game. I want to play it. I think it's going to be fun. I was just a little bummed. And you talked about it being a highlight moment for you, so I just wanted to chat about it.
I'm gonna defend it.
That's fine.
That's
You
all
can.
good.
You can.
Good thing
So
everybody's gonna
real
have
quick,
opinion.
one more thing about Dead Island 2 is I don't know if y'all heard about the Alexa voice command. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
No.
Okay. So apparently you can use Amazon's game control device called Alexa Game Control to play some Dead Island 2, and I guess you can taunt zombie hordes with it. It kind of sounds like a Kinect.
Yeah.
Like, remember in Mass Effect where you could apparently, I never tried it.
I tried it.
You did try it? How'd it
Yeah.
go? I mean, you didn't have to tell me to go. That was
It
forever
was
ago.
interesting. Then after a while, I got tired of talking.
Yeah,
to
and
it.
that thing is discontinued for a reason, right? But yeah, apparently now in Dead Island 2, you can use this thing to taunt zombie hordes.
Interesting.
And I was like, okay, well, that seems like an interesting way to kick off your technology.
Seems like a paid integration.
Yeah.
Very.
There's some interesting implementation in more PC gaming world, which I know, hilarious that I'm talking about this, but in Phasmophobia.
Whatever, Mrs. Steam Deck.
Oh, Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia has that voice integration where you're taunting and calling out the name of whatever ghost you're hunting. Like there could be some interesting application there, but it probably would get a little exhausting after a while yelling at your game, as Skyrim has taught us.
So you can use your voice to access, quote, in-game features like navigation. Okay, that's cool. By saying, where's the nearest workbench? And manipulate zombie hordes by saying, hey, zombie, according to an Amazon blog post.
Adorable.
Hey, zombie. That's ridiculous. I'm not gonna use that.
Well, it's
crap.
like saying like,
Sorry,
hey,
that's-
Alexa, right?
Yeah.
Or hey, Siri.
Nah.
Hey, Google.
zombie.
Manipulate. You see a zombie horde coming towards you. You're like, hey, zombie.
Hey, zombie.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, boo.
I love it.
But I mean, I agree with you, Jan. I think that's definitely one of the most notable games because there is so much history with it.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I'm
yeah.
excited to play it. I love me a good zombie game, but I just don't see a reason yet to be like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Look, I just love zombie games. I was excited for the Call of Duty zombies every year. I play that. Back for Blood. Left 4 Dead back then too. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
All right.
Try it out.
knock some heads.
But there was certainly a lot more games talked about in Opening Night Live. I think the real win for Jeff Keighley, who is the executive producer of the show and obviously the host of the show as well, was how many new IPs he was able to showcase. I think as a fellow media person, that's a big challenge for him as a content producer to go, how do I make these games that nobody knows about interesting? And I think some of them really hit with audiences, like The Lies of P stands out as one that people
Hell
were very
yeah.
Hot
excited about.
Pinocchio. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
The Pinocchio Soulsborne game that we saw. But then some of them fell a little flat, and one that we're all a little scratching our heads about / maybe concerned about was the one he actually opened the show with.
Can I-
Everywhere.game, everybody.
Everywhere.
Let me tell you why. Well, I know it's a business because of that, but the presentation. But it was just there was a lot of questions after the presentation. I was like, "What is this?" Like, and they couldn't even really answer the question. So why do you think they decided not to say much about it?
So if you missed that, it was described as being, quote, blending together gameplay, adventure, creativity, and discovery in a multi-word experience. And this is from IGN. Lepton said is that it appears to utilize blockchain or Web3 technology, which has attracted blah, blah, blah. So that's probably why it was
So run of show wise, I think it is smart to get it out of the way so that it's not distracting from all of the other games that are coming after. Because we saw it, we were like, what? Scratching our heads. And then we quickly moved on during that 2-hour special. That was a good choice because if it was somewhere in the middle, it would have been very distracting. but I agree it was leaving us more confused than curious,
And it was
it's
hard
not really a
because-
great landing.
Yeah, it was so hyped. It's one of the first in-person events where you see people in the audience, and Jeff was on stage, and everyone's like, "Wow, it's so amazing!" And
Rocking
then
that jacket, rocking that jacket.
the jacket. You always look for like, it's
was
like
a
what
good
shoes?
jacket.
Yeah, what shoes is Keely wearing? You know, it's exciting. And then it kind of started out with this montage, which was like, okay, admittedly pretty. You know, you had all these developers pouring their heart and soul out and be like, "Oh, this is why we love games. It's great." And then Jeff started the interview, right, with the developer on stage, and he's like, "What is this game? Everyone has questions." And then, like you said, Danny, they couldn't answer it, and
I
it
mean,
was like,
even Jeff sounded confused.
It was a weak opening. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
And
No, it
I am usually the person that always looks for like the positive, the silver lining of this, but this was just a flat out miss to me. And Jeff rarely misses like this, but I look at something like this where you start with like the dev interviews that they did back to back. And if you're going to open with dev faces, which I applaud, I feel like you maybe want to go with a studio that people recognize or a project that people recognize as your opener. And then if you want to tee up something brand new and interesting and different, you're going to have to really frame it in a context where people are excited.
Right, like the Minifig game, for instance, might have been a better choice.
Right, the
Or-
Brandon Sanderson project.
Or Dune, that was right after that game.
yeah.
That could have been the perfect opening. People would have been super excited and hyped, you know? So, yeah.
Yes. I do like, though, how Opening Night Live included some of the Gamescom awards. So for people who aren't familiar, Jeff Keighley used to head something called the Games Critics Awards for E3. But since he has parted ways with the ESA and E3, I don't know what Keeley's involvement is with the Gamescom Awards specifically, but I appreciate that he partnered with the team at Gamescom to highlight some of the dev teams that got to win awards at the show. And I know some people in our chat, even watching along with us at What's Good Games, were not into it that they were featuring the awards in the show. How did you guys feel about it? Do you think it was successful?
Honestly, it felt like a filler to me.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I mean, I get it, you know, giving awards to like the studios and everything. They've been working hard for years. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't the right thing to add in the show, I think, personally, for me as a viewer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I think in service of the show, it did take up time. Production-wise, we all understand why that's sometimes necessary and very helpful.
Yeah.
Where you can take a break, take a beat, grab some water if you have to go to the bathroom, whatever you can do in that 30 to 60 seconds. I personally appreciated seeing more devs out in front,
Sure.
showing their projects and talking about their dedication, what's important to them and their teams. Because if not here, then where does it get this big of a stage?
That's exactly what I'm thinking too. I think the game industry really needs to put more effort into humanizing game developers in the game development process. I think there's a complete lack of empathy for what studios go through and how much a delay really does impact a studio, like the emotional toll it takes. And I think a lot of folks just think, oh, game's delayed. It's just like a flip of a switch. They just want to do it for this reason, that reason, or whatever reason. And like you said, if they don't have people aren't going to watch game developer, I don't know what you want to call it, get together. Like, let's get together and talk about video games in the game development process. People aren't going to tune into that. But if you have
GDC?
thank you.
Yes.
But if you have, but if you have an awards show where everyone's hyped, expecting new announcements, people are going to tune into it. So I think if you can put some developers on the stage and they can chat about it a little bit, I think it's good. I think it's good for the industry. And are these people professional spokespeople? No, they're not. But I think that's, again, part of the humanizing. I think of the Yarny, the Unravel reveal at EA, and like what year was that?
There. I remember
Right,
that.
2015 or
Yes.
whatever that was. And he came on the stage and he was visibly so nervous. He was shaking. But think about what that did for that game. Everyone wanted to support it. And I think it's important. So
But here's the thing. Gamescom Opening Night Live wasn't an award show, though. And
That's
that's
true.
why a lot of people were expecting just announcements. Now, if it was like the Game Awards, I'm all in. But it wasn't.
okay,
though.
award show wasn't a
But you
good
say that though.
choice.
But Jeff even gets flack at the Game Awards for giving devs time, which is why people are so excited about his world premieres and trailers. And every time Jeff tweets, "What did you think about the show? What do you want more of? Whatever," because he's so good about asking for feedback.
Sure.
When you look at the replies, it's almost universally fans being like, more reveals, more trailers, more of this. And he's like,
course.
but what about the awards? You know, it is an award show then.
That part I disagree. You got to get let them shine, man. The
Yeah.
doves. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a balance, and it's hard to strike the right tone
It is
for
hard.
everyone.
But I feel like opening night live is not an award show though.
It's
not.
not, and I shouldn't have said the word. I shouldn't have used the word show. It's just the first thing that came to mind. But
Yeah.
more of a show that people are going to flock to. Andrea, what do you think?
I really liked it. I think that we're in a really precarious time where devs are in an impossible position of having to have a public facing persona to promote their game, but also to be proud of the work they did. And they open themselves up to just unwarranted harassment and toxicity in ways that I never could have imagined people being. Just horrific things that are happening to devs, really targeted campaigns that really wears on studios and has, as we've seen, make people leave the video game industry to say, like, I came in to this industry because I love games and I love creating and I want to be part of the innovative interactive medium that is video games, but I can't tolerate or deal with this online harassment that I'm receiving. And it's a really big issue, and I'm glad that some of the acceptance speeches that we saw alluded to the toll that takes on their teams and how strong these developers are being forced into being in ways that they shouldn't have to be, right? And so I think it's, like you said, it was really great to humanize these teams and remind people, hey, they're people. And we do that here on the show, obviously, all the time.
They're not just a Twitter account online.
Right. The people who are listening to What's Good Games right now are not those people.
No.
But I think that's why I really appreciated that Jeff took the time in the show. And I wouldn't look at it as filler because that show was long. You did not need any filler. But it was jam-packed, right? So let's just talk about a couple more highlights. Brittany, you mentioned Moonbreaker, the game that was announced that is partnered with Brandon Sanderson, being developed by Unknown Worlds, the team behind Subnautica and several other games. That's all about digital miniatures where you get to build and paint your own minifigs, and they're calling it a Hearthstone meets XCOM game. And that does not raise any flags for me, as we say here. It doesn't blow my skirt up. But I love Brandon Sanderson. I talk about him in his books and his world building all the time. So anything that he's involved with, I will at least check out. I'm still holding out hope that he's going to make a BioWare type RPG someday because that's really what I want from him. But that was a big standout for me. And then from the other things in this list, the last thing I want to mention is the Unknown Project. They all kind of left us going, what the heck is this game of Wiro Song / Word Song? Wiro Song? So there's a new studio called Something Wicked Games that is comprised of heavy hitters in the RPG world. People from Bethesda, from BioWare, from Obsidian that know RPGs that are making this game. And this is the game I want to know more about.
Yeah, IGN has a really wonderful write-up on it from Rebecca Valentine, but I thought it was really fascinating. So essentially what happened is the main developer guy from Bethesda, I can't remember his name, sorry. He left, he went into a little mini retirement, never had plans of starting his own studio, but as he was just kind of enjoying himself and enjoying traveling and seeing, he was inspired to make this game. And so he pitched it. He raised money successfully. Now it's a small team of maybe 13 or so. They're trying to get to a team of 70.
I mean, that's a small team for an RPG, 13.
Yeah, but that's what they're going for. And it's being described as a, wait, how do you say that word? What's that one?
Preternatural?
I've never heard that word in my life. Thank you, Ray. A cult and historical fantasy game. And it's going to be an open world RPG, single player, no common to multiplayer. And it just kind of goes into it sounds like it's going to be a BioWare-esque game, which, it's like when you say that, you know what you mean. And I think that's great. I mean, it's going to be interesting. And it's very, very early. They said also that this was very much a hey, we're here. If you're interested in working for us, you can come for us. But it sounds like this game is
so they're just trying to raise money right now.
Yeah.
They're
ways
put us
off.
on stage so we can
Trying to
raise
get that
some
buzz.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm really interested in it too. So Weird Song? Is that her
Weird Song is what we've been told it's called.
Modern sci-fi and modern fantasy.
No, you can't do both. Come on.
Well, it sounds like they're trying it.
Can I give a quick shout out to someone?
Of course you
real quick?
can.
Shout out to Kojima for announcing the first podcast of any gaming show out there, man. Just want to say
Is
that
that what it said?
Are you being facetious?
No, I'm being real.
Wait.
I'm being real.
Is that what the announcement said? I don't remember.
That's the first podcast announcement at a gaming show.
Oh, that's what you're
I
talking
see.
about. Okay.
Okay.
I think we
it's
just.
true.
I mean,
Just want to say that very quick. I mean, he was that was trolling though. A lot of people thought it was going to be like a brand new game or something he was going to announce.
Yeah, to me that was a paid Spotify integration. I saw that from a mile away. Also, it's well known that Jeff Keighley
Besties.
and Hideo Kojima are BFFs.
Buddies, yes.
And we called that one of the special guests would be Kojima-san.
Yeah.
And he's obviously riding off the announcement of PC Game Pass and Death Stranding and all that. But it did feel out of place. Brain Structure, by the way, is the name of his podcast.
Oh, brain what?
Brain Structure
Is
the name of his podcast coming.
I'm really interested.
let me
I want to
subscribe
try to
right
get
now.
inside his mind.
It's not out yet, I don't think.
Oh, it's not?
Well, I mean, you look it up. You let us
Let
know.
us know.
I'm going to search real time.
Okay,
Real
great.
time reporting right here. What's
Yes.
good games?
All right. Well, unless anybody else has stuff that they have burning desires to talk about opening night live, there is a little bit of other news.
Okay, so real quick, I want to say it was great to see more of the Outlast trials.
Oh, was it great?
It was
I didn't
great.
think it was great.
It was
Or
great
we-
for some
I
of
thought
us.
it was terrifying.
So this is obviously Red Barrel's multiplayer spin-off of Outlast, which is like, okay, cool. I love multiplayer horror games. We don't get enough of them. So you two are incredibly lucky that the beta is going to be, while we can't play it, we're going to be out. So middle finger to both of you. Love you so much. And then the Callisto Protocol, I mean, more of the same. We got to see mutations, which is like, okay, cool. Like, that looks terrifying. Reminds me of Las Plagas from Resident Evil. You never know when those tentacles are going to sprout and go blah, 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 blah. Lots of squelching.
So much
in the
squelching.
demo we saw it.
Squelching.
And Andrew did make the point that the sound design was phenomenal. There was squelching coming from everywhere in that level, and you could pinpoint it.
It was so, and we don't normally get that kind of
Squelcherific.
or that audio experience in a setting like that, because usually because of stream purposes they kick out mono audio, and I was really impressed by the sound design in that demo that they showed. It was great.
It was great. It
was
looks
great.
really, and they ended it with a new death for a poor protagonist. So
I mean, as a fan of Dead Space, I can't wait to play that
it
game.
looks so
It
good,
looks
right?
so good.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm
and
very,
it's
very
dark,
excited.
grimy. Oh, I can't wait.
There's gonna be some fun stealth.
Yes.
Worry.
Real quick, as a fan of Ghost of Tsushima, I am excited for Where Winds Meet. And
Yeah.
this is what was a game set in the Northern Song Dynasty. So that very familiar combat and very beautiful vistas. Like, I want to know more about it and, like, what the angle is. And I did catch a quick little article here from IGN where they reference maybe some of, like, the Tai Chi movements entering in, like, reflecting attacks. So that it sounds really interesting.
It looks so good.
And it looks gorgeous.
This won't bother you guys because you have a Steam Deck, but it's PC only. I didn't realize that. So I guess I'm gonna have to get myself a Steam Deck so I can play it.
You'll like it.
Get in line, girl. They
Join
ain't
us.
shipping now until what, Q1 2023. If you're in the queue already,
Yeah,
you'll
get
get
early.
you'll get yours. But if you're not in the queue, if you're joining the queue now,
I
you
want to
gotta-
join the queue. I
you
want
gotta
to
wait
get in the
till
fast
next
pass
year.
line.
You should
They're
join the
sending them
movement.
out more rapidly now.
Yeah, I think the production went up.
Yeah,
I
production's
think-
gone up.
Okay.
By the way, breaking news: the podcast is live.
breaking
breaking
news.
news.
I
Here
just
on
started
What's Good
following.
Games.
You mean Kojima-san's podcast?
Yeah,
is on
it's the
Spotify.
podcast. I'm so sorry, the
It's called
podcast.
Brain Structure.
Brain structure.
And
You're
Andrea, I
looking for
want to
it.
know: are you gonna give Dune Awakening a shot, or you're like, that's an MMO, bitch, get out of here?
I mean, I'll look at it. The hard part for me about MMO reveals is that their cinematics always look amazing.
Yeah, right,
And
right,
the
right.
gameplay looks nothing like the cinematics. And I appreciate Blizzard's cinematics so much because they're beautiful and gorgeous. But then you look at gameplay for stuff like WoW, and it's just like, it doesn't look like the cinematics look like, right?
Yeah.
And that's just one example. And so I'm concerned that this cinematic looked gorgeous, but I'm like, what does the gameplay look
That's
like?
fair,
Because
that's fair.
MMOs run the gamut, right? Like, it could look like anything, it could play like anything. And I just obviously need to learn and see a lot more. I would rather probably spend time in Dune Spice Wars, the RTS that's currently in early access, than to probably jump into an MMO.
That's fair.
That's
Being,
fair.
You know, selective about my Dune experiences.
Ooh, I like it when you're selective.
Yes. I do want to give one quick mention to the DualSense Edge, the lone hardware piece of news that came out of this week. Sony revealed that they finally have an answer to the Xbox Elite controller. And I don't know if people are super jazzed about
I feel like
this.
I want to play the JoJo song where she's like, "It's just a little too late, a
Oh.
little too wrong," or whatever.
Oh, yeah. That's a good song. It's actually a banger.
Right? It's a banger. No, it's like better late than never. Cool. You do you. I guess it. I don't
Was
know.
that the only one? I thought it was gonna be the VR 2 they were gonna show.
No,
Yeah.
I did not think that. That's
Yeah.
going
So
to
you
be a
knew it was a
standalone
contr-
event.
So you
Yeah.
knew it was gonna be the controller right away.
No,
No.
I thought it was going to be a game of some kind. I didn't think it was going to be hardware.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a movie. We first
I
saw
was
A
like, are we getting a
movie.
more in-depth
Another
look
one.
at the Telu? But we just got
I
the teaser.
also thought maybe they would show a more in-depth HBO Max trailer because there's
Yeah.
been a lot of press around The Last of Us
Mm-hmm.
for HBO Max, and I was like, this is a good time for them to be like, here's like an extended cut trailer of
Yeah.
what we've
Yeah.
already shown.
Yeah,
It would have fit right in perfectly, and I think people would have been excited. I did not see a controller announcement coming.
I know some people get all hot and bothered and turned on and their Switch gets flipped over controllers. I don't think any of us are those people, are we?
No.
I have all the controllers I want already.
Yeah, I don't
I have
ever
way too many.
customize. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
customize a controller. I've never fudged with the little paddles or whatever, so it didn't
The
do
paddles
anything
are a
for
game
me.
changer for shooters.
Okay, see, I mean, that's why you're here.
But I already have them,
oh, see,
so I'm good.
There you
go.
go. All right. Well, if you guys want to watch and learn about everything that happened with Opening Night Live, I would just refer you to the Twitch stream that we did. You can check it all out there. There was a little bit of other news that happened, so I admittedly haven't gotten to deep dive into it, but Bay Destiny had a big showcase this week.
they had a few things this week. Or was
Yeah.
was the Fortnite inside the showcase, or was
Yes,
that
It was.
it
It was
was.
part of the showcase
Got it.
news. So Destiny 2 going strong. I don't know why they decided to do their showcase right in front of Opening Night Live to like have all that news kind of get swallowed up by what's happening at Gamescom, but they debuted Lightfall, the brand new expansion that's coming in February of next year, and there's a new subclass. There's a cyberpunk world that
It
looks
looks
really cool.
really cool.
And there's a Fortnite integration that's happening.
Oh yeah, that Fortnite piece was really cool. That was a good spot because it took us all the way back to the loot cave experience that
Yes.
Oh,
just
yes,
burned
from Destiny
into our
1.
memories, and like you see the glimmer falling as like Ikora and the stranger like shooting next to other Fortnite character, and it was actually really great. It definitely got me. I'm in. I'm probably gonna buy all those skins.
You know,
Are
I was
you-
talking to Ree earlier. I was like, "Are you gonna get it? Are you gonna buy it?" She's like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm gonna buy it."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna regretfully buy it, but like a lot of people, I am disappointed that they put in the Stranger and not Cade 6.
It seems like an obvious miss.
It's like a giant swing and a miss. Like,
Yeah.
what were you thinking?
No one
Bungie?
remembers the stranger.
No one cares about the Stranger. The Stranger does not have any meaningful impact for any Guardian, no matter what class you are.
Correct.
The idea that you would overlook Cade, arguably the most popular character in the Destiny universe,
Agreed.
to
Agreed.
put in the Stranger, it's to me a giant miss. And I don't care if in canon Cade is gone.
No.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
People will buy Cade 6 if you put him in Fortnite.
Exactly.
smack that ass while you
There's
say it.
plenty
Smack,
of
smack, smack.
canon
Yeah.
deceased characters who are in
And the other big
Fortnite.
miss for me was Shax. Like, how are you going with Zavala and not Shax?
Okay, wait, hold on.
Oh wait.
Hold on.
Okay.
He's a vanguard,
He is.
and he's our awoken brother.
He's good.
We love him.
Yeah, no, Zavala's great, but
We
somebody
love Lance.
somebody very smartly pointed out to me when I was complaining about this on Twitter, because y'all know I love to complain about my Bay Destiny. I was like, why is Shax, the master of the Crucible, the lord of PvP and multiplayer competitive experiences in Destiny, not in a battle royale integration? Like,
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
This to me seems like a giant miss as well. And they were like, well, they have to represent all three classes. They're like, that's why the Stranger's in there. It's representing the Hunters. I go,
Well, what?
really?
Really?
I was like, okay, well, I guess I kind of see it. But I was like, so if we took Zavala out, who's the guy that steps in? I was like, obviously Shax.
Yeah, Shax.
Right?
yes.
Like,
He's
Shax-
also a very hilarious character.
right. His commentary, if you guys ever played Crucible in Destiny, his commentary is so good.
It's so good. It is
Danny
so
and Brittany
good.
are making eyes at each other like, it's okay, we don't know, it's
No.
fine.
I played Destiny
I
before.
play a lot of
but I have a
Destiny,
question for
but-
you.
Uh-huh.
Are you still gonna buy it?
Yes.
Because we play Fortnite all the time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
It's a win.
Yeah, but
You can complain all you want.
I have to get
They used buy
Ikora,
games.
but
obviously,
more
more
people
Warlocks.
would buy it.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
But I've already said that I openly spend too much money on cosmetics and games.
I've already just committed to. I need to drop like at least $100 on V-Bucks for the rest of the year. Like I need an allowance
Yo,
or something.
I'm buying. Look, I'm not.
Danny, break out the wallet. Let's go.
So I don't watch Dragon Ball, and I bought the Dragon Ball
Of
bundle.
course.
You don't
Yes,
do
you
what?
did. We're gonna talk about that in hands-on. 'Cause guess who we got to play Fortnite?
Yay.
And guess who actually enjoyed it?
It's not the three of us, y'all. It's the blonde wonder.
Oh,
Join
that's
us.
a new name for me.
Yes.
You never called me that before.
Well, now you are.
I'm gonna call you Bubble Britt from now on.
I love that.
Bubble
too. Bubble Britt. Stand for my farts and my burps, who could say?
But I'm excited about everything that they showed. Rhea and I were like, do we get back in?
Yeah.
Is now the time
What about
to
the
get back
grapple
into
hook?
Destiny?
Grapple hook changes things for me because I enjoy a grapple hook experience in almost every iteration. I
Okay.
really do.
Okay.
It's like grapple hooks and bows, like the bow check bow.
Lanterns.
Well, the bow check bow in Apex was a game changer for me, and then I quickly learned I'm not good at bows, and then I decided to really refocus on the grapple hook when it entered Fortnite. That was a much better payoff. But I'm really excited about potentially getting back into it. I'm scared to commit to it because I know how much of a time sink Destiny 2 can be, and it's just really hard. Even though I have lots of free time right now to focus on one game that hard when it really doesn't reward every moment to moment interaction, and the grind is just so intense. And it may be different now. I mean, it's been a while since we've played, but I don't know that I can make that emotional commitment because like you just quickly get left behind, like in PvE, PvP, like any raid you're trying to do, like you just quickly cannot access the content at the same level of the people we would be playing with because you have to play it almost every single day in order to get to that competitive level.
And we have great Sherpas. The What's Good Guardians are wonderful, and we know that the minute that we're in, please jump in and help Sherpa us through all of this content, that people would absolutely squad up with us to play. But she's right in the sense that even though they've helped streamline the ability to kind of jump up to the current light level, it's still a grind, and they still suffer from the same issues that Destiny 2 has always suffered from, which is that you're doing the same content over and over again. Now, I don't want to go down a Destiny rabbit hole because we have other things to talk
Sure,
about.
yeah.
You have a guest that
On the
doesn't know
show.
much about Destiny.
You may learn.
Listen, you don't got to talk shit about Brittany like that, okay?
I'm messing with you. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Come on, come on.
I will say I do miss all the Destiny rants and talks. Like I used to give you shit for it, but I do genuinely miss it.
I've suffered a lot of Majima talk over the last 2 years.
Listen, I do appreciate you talking about my third husband that way, Andrea.
I think it is important to share the games that you love because there's
Yes.
a lot of people that wants to hear that too. So
Absolutely.
I'm just
Destiny
joking
2 is a
around.
great game.
Yeah, it is a great game.
I have a hard time playing it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do raids.
I love raids. I have a hard time getting to raid
miss
level.
raids, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting raid ready, that's the problem.
Everybody has to be on point. If not, one person is.
But that's the
That's
fun
the
of
fun.
It is fun,
it.
it's fun,
the
it's fun.
magic.
I done all the raids. Destiny 1, Destiny 2, 0.
What?
Wow.
None of them?
None of them.
Not one.
Not one. I just do.
Honestly, it's a really great
campaign.
bonding experience, I will
Yeah.
say.
But I like doing strikes.
memories.
Strikes is fun. Multiplayer is fun too. So
There's lots of great content within
It is.
Destiny, for
It is.
sure.
Yeah.
Not denying that at all.
And
Shout out
they
to
made
Bungie.
all the expansions free right now. They announced a new partnership with the Epic Game Store. And if you have thought about getting back into Destiny, it's a good time to do it. Just saying.
We'll see. We'll see. Let
But-
us know if we need to get back into it. I guess that's what.
Wow.
where I'm at.
Need is such a strong
The cyberpunk
word.
aesthetic and the grapple hook are almost enough to just get me. I gotta say.
I know.
If there's a lantern, it is on.
Danny,
There
you
are
need to buy
lanterns.
your wife a lantern.
yes, I think.
I never knew.
I think we should.
You
make
don't
it.
have to do rose petals. Just get some lanterns, put them all around your bedroom.
And that's it.
Bonus points if it's blue.
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 Okay.
All right, everybody
Taking notes.
take notes, everybody. Okay, so to kind of wrap up news,
Yes.
I want to just give a tip of the hat to New Tales from the Borderlands. I'm excited
Yes.
about
oh,
you.
hell yes.
Very
Very
excited
excited.
about you.
Very excited.
We learned that Sonic Frontiers is still coming this year. In November is the confirmed release date.
Oof.
We're sort of excited, sort of not excited. Very confused about like how that game is actually going to play out based off what we've seen already. I think Lords of the Fallen looked really cool. That's the official sequel, so it's no longer Lords of the Fallen 2, is the Lords of the Fallen. That's a weird change. I'm not sure why they decided to do that, but the game,
the new thing.
The cinematic we saw looked really cool. Other kind of high level quick hits from what we saw. I think I want to mention that. Oh my gosh, I had the story right up in front of me.
It happened.
I could give that quick shout out.
I can give a quick shout out to Goat Simulator. Just
Oh,
real quick.
yes,
Ghost
Ghost Simulator 3.
Yeah.
Three.
That looks so
Same
good,
page.
right?
Yeah,
looks so good.
it looks fun. It
We
looks
talked
fun.
about this again. Hilarious, and it's not just a game where you get to be a goat.
More than
There's
that.
a little narrative there.
You can be a pig too.
Really? I didn't know that. I missed that.
Multiplayer
You didn't
too?
see the pig?
I probably did, but I don't remember it.
There was a bull at one point.
Great.
Oh,
See?
I
Really?
missed that.
I thought we saw bull ass.
Bull
butt.
ass.
A bull ass?
Like, it's like you have the back shot of the goat.
to like.
Wow, no.
Oh,
That's not what I
wow.
meant.
Oh, sorry, too much
Hey.
info.
Not for What's Good Games, Danny. Not for What's
That's
Good
for
Games.
your own show, Gamer Tech Radio. You can talk all about bull ass you want.
Sorry,
But no, there seems to be narrative hints.
There does, and there was a point we talked about this in our reacts where you were a goat in full goat armor, walking down like a castle red carpet, and all the goats were kneeling on all four of their goat knees, and I think that looks amazing.
It looks great.
If I can't be an IRL queen in my life, I can be a goat queen.
Also hilarious that there is no Goat Simulator 2. It's just
I mean,
3.
that's the funny part.
Okay, so do
I
you know
love
the story
this.
behind that?
No, I don't.
I wasn't sure if I got this right or not, but I did read I thought I did a long ass article in IGN. Sleep deprivation is a thing, so sorry if I get this wrong. But they had thought that they had announced Goat Simulator 2 already, so that's why they went with 3. And then they realized after they announced 3 that they actually hadn't announced 2 because their community was like, hey, what the heck? And they're like, okay, well, I guess we're leaning into 3 now.
Hey,
and,
you know what? They have the right to do it.
and like Reed
It's their
said
game.
in the post show, if there's any series that can do this and get away with it, it's
Goat
Goat
Simulator.
Simulator.
There's
Yeah.
no
That's
rules.
funny.
Shout out to Return to Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
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 We have to do
Definitely
this
gonna
thing.
play that.
Take a shot, everybody. My husband works for Disney.
That's
Hey.
great.
Yeah, we talked
Andrea,
about
you wanna
Monkey
take it?
Island, which is a Lucasfilm
Okay,
game property underneath the Disney umbrella. But we got a release date for that, which is surprisingly soon.
Very soon.
I think it's September, right?
September 19th.
Very exciting.
That's awesome.
Got some Dying Light 2 DLC. Reminds me I need to get back to that game. I need to give it another shot. I haven't played it really since around release time, and I know they've done a lot of fixes to it. So I need to hop back
Brittany,
into
it's
that.
a great game. I enjoyed it.
See, the first one
I
is
finished
one
the
of
whole
my
thing.
favorite games.
Oh, first
Favorite
one's
co-
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like
So,
legendary.
okay, as someone who's
iconic.
done first and second.
I prefer the first one.
Okay.
But the second one is good.
No, that's proper
good.
expectations you're setting, so thank you.
It's good. It's good. I had a great time. I have a lot of hours on that one. It's 40 plus, 50 hours, I think.
No, we were both talking about how we want to go back and play more of it, and how now that the game has been patched and polished a little bit, that now is probably the best time to go back and check it out.
And Rosario Dawson's in there. That's all I have to say.
She is.
She is.
Indeed, she is.
Hey.
Well, listen, we're inevitably going to miss some of the news because there's just too much news that happened this week. But we have some fun hands-on stuff to talk about. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It is the second segment of the What's Good Games podcast, where we talk about what we've been playing in any events that we have been to. And Lord, have we been playing a lot of stuff. Let's start with Saints Row.
Yeah!
So a big thank you to the team at Deep Silver for providing us with advanced copies of the game. So it turns out a lot of people ain't liking their time with Saints Row.
I feel a rant bubbling within my loins.
Ooh,
Let it go,
Bubble Britt.
girl.
Well,
Shut your laptop first so we can fully see you
has
and
some
not
of-
focus on that.
Some of
Come
my
on.
notes on it. It's fine. Whatever. Fuck it. Here's the thing. I don't know what people were expecting when they were going to start a Saints Row game. Were you expecting the next Grand Theft Auto killer? I don't know. But the fact that people are playing this game and then they're complaining about like, oh, the writing, there's so much vulgarity. Oh, it's like it's a Saints Row game. It's supposed to be silly. It's not supposed to make a lot of sense. It's supposed to have a certain sense of humor to it. And I am having a great time with it. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Are there issues? Absolutely, there are. But if you go into it with the right expectations, you want to have dumb, stupid fun, you're going to have a lovely time with it. And I don't know what folks were thinking. You know what I mean? What the hell? God, it makes me so angry.
Yes,
Are
Danny.
you preaching too, or are you going to counter me?
No, I was gonna ask you a question. Have you finished the game?
Woo!
No.
No, I am 50% through the way the
Okay.
campaign. But I've probably played about 20 to 25 hours.
Okay,
of it.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good. Okay, so it's not the issue that I have with the game. It's not the game is fun. I find it fun. It's just the side missions are very frustrating. And the thing
Oh.
is, you have to do a certain amount of side missions in order to unlock one of the like last few missions in order to finish the game, and it just took forever for me. And it just got really frustrating.
I'm doing
and
a
plus
lot
it
of-
was buggy. the game.
Oh, okay, yeah, there are a lot of bugs in this game, and I
Yeah.
will give it that. But there is a certain charm to certain bugs in a game, and this is one of those things. It's hard to like talk about it without it sounding like you're an idiot. But I think there are some bugs in a game that actually kind of lend itself to the theme of the game. What, honey?
Before we talk about the bugs, did you both only play before the day one patch that came out this week?
I played before and after.
Okay, so
I've
you
only played
both.
before.
Okay.
I haven't
Yeah.
played since I've been here.
So I just want to make sure, because that's a
That's a big
frequent thing
big
that
It is.
we are required to make sure you guys know, because there are times when we play pre-release where they call out
True.
known bugs,
That is true.
particularly in open world games, and day one patches are routine procedure these days. So I just wanted to ask, but you have played post patch.
I have, but I finished the game before the patch went out. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
still stuck with this.
I mean, but that's
frustrated.
fair.
That's
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Oh, absolutely, it's fair. And let me tell you,
Yeah.
I had probably the hardest time playing co-op, both like between every single game I've ever played. Like Jason and I both have a code, and for us to actually sink into a game, we had to resort to random matchmaking and hope that we would get into the same game. So he would actually end up joining other people's games and had a hard quit out because it was broken. So yeah, like the pre-release version of matchmaking was very frustrating, and I can understand that. And there are a lot of bugs. We've had a few times where we've had to quit the game. But there were also times where we would get a bug where I would be in the car, but actually be sitting in the middle of an intersection, buck-ass naked for some reason. And Jason would be driving around. But I'm like, this is so perfect. It fits into it so well. But it was never anything game-breaking. And it's that hard, balance. But anyway, I saw you had your hand raised earlier.
So I wanted to quickly raise a counterpoint to what you said. It being frustrating that you needed to do certain side missions in order to get to the in-game campaign storyline. Keeping in mind the way most people, the most consumers will play this game, do you think it's going to be a similar experience where folks like Blessing, Ade Jr. or Janet Garcia from Kind of Funny had a really frustrating time trying to finish the game for review, but most people will play this over 6 to 12 months, and they will come back to it having played other things or done other things, and they'll be coming back fresh. Maybe it won't be so repetitive if they're not mainlining all 40-ish hours of this all at once. Does it seem like an experience that could work for people who are looking for stupid shenanigans and maybe even some bugs that are quite charming over the course of, let's say, 6 months to a year?
I'll speak to that after Danny does.
Okay,
Andrea,
so
I know you
Because
wanna
I
be
feel
able
like
to
this
talk.
is something that
it's fine.
needs to be called out for review environments. Just as Andrea mentioned, day one patches make a big difference in a lot of games because
Yeah.
going gold doesn't necessarily mean all the bugs are worked out, even known bugs. Playing a game is not necessarily binging a game.
But it's not the binging part, because I play games. I mean, I'll stay playing one game for, I'm talking about for days, just trying to finish it, and I had a lot of fun playing it. The thing with Saints Row, I feel like, especially the side mission again, the side mission was just too much for me.
Okay,
So
when
when
you
you
say
say-
side...
Yeah, no,
Wait, but no. Here's the thing.
I love you.
Yeah.
What do you mean it was too much? They were too
The-
repetitive. They were boring. The gameplay was not fun.
Repetitive, maybe, but also the AI. Like, for example, there's one side mission where you're on top of the vehicle and you're driving around and
Shotgun for hire or whatever it's called.
yeah,
Shotgun,
something like that. Yeah, and then the cops are after you. You destroy the cops, the cars, and some of them just popped up out of nowhere.
Sure.
Like it was a lot of those.
So it was broken.
Very broken. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Fair.
yeah, and it wasn't fun for me. It was just frustrating.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
no, when it's broken,
I
it's
had-
definitely
Yeah,
not fun.
yeah.
But I
Totally.
had a great time playing the mission more than anything.
The main
Or the
mission
main
is... Yeah.
campaign.
I mean, I'm with
Towards
you.
the end got a little bit weird.
Not there yet, yeah.
I'm not gonna say.
You mean narratively, like
yeah,
that weird?
it turned a
Jump the shark.
Yeah, it was like a lot. I'm like, this came out of nowhere, okay, but I still finished the game.
Because there's a lot of side things you can do in this game. And you two talked about this in your preview. You have your ventures, right? Where you can build these businesses. And some of them I think are hilarious. One of them is based off of insurance fraud, where you build this, right, false insurance company, right? And you have to jump in front of all. And this has been in other Saints Row games, I feel like, where you have to fling yourself in front of oncoming traffic. And you get flung in the air and you have to hit a certain monetary threshold for you to complete successfully the mission. Like, those are funny. So side mission. So you have these ventures, you build these businesses, and then they unlock specific side content. So maybe it's the insurance fraud one that I just talked about, or it's the shotgun one that you were, where you're on top of the car and you have to get to a certain spot, or you have to ride a hoverboard through the town, or you have to transport toxic material from point A to point B. Honestly, a lot of it is really basic, but it is just so much fun. And here's the disclaimers. I've been playing this only with someone else, right?
So you haven't played single player.
I haven't played single player.
I played the majority of single player.
And I think, though, that I actually like all of the characters in this game. I like your little Saints buddies.
Yeah.
And I know
I think that's the best part about the game.
And see, I've seen a lot of people say they don't like them, right? I like them.
I like them.
I do, too.
Even the cat that's in the game.
The freaking cat.
There's
exactly.
Even the cat.
You can
I think
pet the
that's
cat.
enough to keep me. That would be enough to keep me playing this
Yeah.
solo. There was a few nights where we couldn't get the co-op working. I'm like, deuces, Jason. Like, I'm playing this without you. But we're having so much fun just playing those randomly. We probably do about 3 side missions to 1 main mission. So we're already accomplishing that. So I don't know when we get to that point if we'll have that same problem you did.
You're almost there.
Am I?
Yeah. Close to like the 30 plus mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
around
God,
there.
I'm having so much fun.
But now let's talk about the new location.
Okay.
Santa Ileso.
Santo Aleso, yeah. So you're walking around, you see cars driving by, right? I feel like it was kind of dead,
Lifeless. Yeah.
lifeless. Sometimes you will see a car that will stop at a red light and the car would just stay there the whole time. I'm like, okay. So I would just go and steal the car. And everything.
As one does.
Yeah, it was like super easy for me. But that was the part I was kind of like, damn, honestly, like the game started really strong. And that's what we played in Las Vegas when we got the hands-on event. And I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm ready to play this. Once I play the full game, I'm like, it's not there. It has a lot of potential. A lot of potential.
It's important because I don't want people listening to feel like we're giving Saints Row a pass just because it's fun. Because we do routinely, or I specifically routinely, call out games that don't provide an adequate experience for a $60 price tag or a $70 price tag, whatever you're paying for the game, right? And this is a full price AAA console release.
Right.
And does it stand toe to toe with other open world games out there as far as the quality level of gameplay? I cannot say yes. All I can say is that I have a lot of fun when I'm playing the game, but will I also have fun if I jump back into Just Cause 4 or even GTA Online or any other number of open world games where I can screw around, even like going back to Far Cry and playing co-op and the fun that you can have in that game. And that is something that you as a consumer have to weigh and go, do I want to spend my dollars on a game that will be fun, but will also have problems and issues and isn't admittedly toe-to-toe with what's currently out there. And this is what I alluded to in my tweet when I talked about the game, was that this game clearly is cross-generation. Even when we spoke to the development team at that event that we got to go to in Las Vegas, it was clear that they struggled with the fact that they had to split generations. And no, I don't want to use the phrase dumb down the technology that they were using to make sure it could run on PS4 and Xbox One. But it's really tough in an open world scenario. It's like, what can we implement? What can we push with our engine in order to make the game run and not be broken, which this game clearly is in some aspects, when we're trying to service PS5 and Xbox Series S and S and also Xbox One and PS4. And we really just need developers who are focusing on making open world games to leave the last generation behind. That's just it. If you're not making an open world game, you could still probably split generations, no problem. But the technology is just so different now between what people expect when they buy an open world game that's designed for PC and new generation 9 consoles and old gen. And Volition struggled with that clearly, and I think that's why people are having struggles with this game.
But
And
here's the thing.
To be clear, you're
go
playing
ahead.
on PlayStation or PC.
No, Xbox.
You're playing on Xbox? I was
Yeah.
playing on Xbox.
Places, where that came from.
We were all
I'm also playing on Xbox
Okay.
Series
Yeah.
S.
Series S.
No,
for
I'm
me.
playing on
Yeah.
Series X. Excuse me.
Xbox. Yeah,
X.
Xbox.
Okay, so a mix of Xbox
But
current console.
I know you mentioned about the developers, but is it the developers or the publishers? The publisher want to make money. Developers are just making the game.
But this is on the development team. Like this is like Deep Silver wasn't pushing Volition to push this game out on a deadline.
No, it's not that
obviously
far.
we've seen from Deep Silver that they're okay with a game slipping a little bit.
Yeah.
Dead Island was announced in 2014 and now is coming out in 2023. So I mean, I don't think it was Deep Silver pressuring Volition. I think this was Volition struggling with what do we do to bring our iconic franchise up to speed? Do we reboot, which is what they decided to do? But then when you reboot, what do you keep and what do you dump? And you're never going to satisfy. It's like what Capcom, I'm sure, struggled with Resident Evil, right? Because you have two very clear Resident Evil audiences, and they're like, how do we mesh them with Resident Evil Village? And clearly, not everybody was happy with that game, even though we had a good time with it. But there was a core audience there that wasn't happy in either direction. It either wasn't action focused enough or it wasn't survival horror focused enough. And I think Volition is finding themselves and like, we tried to service multiple audiences that love this franchise, and apparently it's falling short for people. But it's falling short for people who are critically reviewing the game. I haven't seen mass fan reaction of this game yet because we're recording the podcast just as the game is going live for people around the world. I have a gut feeling that this game is going to fall in line with what Days Gone did. That early critical reaction was not universally positive and in fact was middling to negative.
Yeah.
But fans were like, this game is awesome. I'm having so much fun. I love this. And I think Saints Row might fall in line with that, though I will say Saints Row has far more technical problems than Days Gone did at launch.
I will also say that the optics right now is that Saints Row has some really tough criticisms levied against it, right? We're talking about a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
And referencing even some other outlets who have been pretty harsh on their criticism. Lowering that expectation is probably in the long run better for the reception of the game because people will know what to expect when they go in. It's going to be a little buggy. It may get repetitive if they're playing for long stretches at a time by themselves. Like this game really is designed to be enjoyed in, I would say, bite sizes with friends. Like that is
yes.
the ideal
Oh,
setting.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
is the opposite of how most reviewers are experiencing the game.
Absolutely.
So I think lowering your expectations and folks like me who are not familiar with the Saints Row franchise will probably have a good time because I didn't have that previous game to compare it to. And I really enjoy the writing and the narrative. And all of the characters are great to me.
I have two things to say. One, and I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about this. I played with the same weapon from the beginning of the game to the end.
Definitely a huge, criticism. So
Huge.
at levels 5, 10, and 15, you can go to the gun shop. I can't remember what it's called.
Gunshot.
It doesn't even matter. And
Store.
The store.
The store.
And you can buy new weapons. And the way you can which is cool. And I finally just did that after I reached level 15. And then as you use that weapon, there are certain tasks that you can do with that weapon to unlock its special ability. But that's kind of the progression system, and that's kind of it. And that,
Or you have to do special challenges to unlock weapons at the gun shop, which I hated.
exactly, you have their call. Oh God, what are they
Did not
called?
like that.
Missions or something. Yeah,
Weak on the RPG part.
yeah. So real quick, like Andrea said, disclaimer: we're recording this a few days after release. I'm on Metacritic, and because it has critical reviews and it has like user-based reviews.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
So Metacritic score for the PC based off 69 ratings, 2.2 user score.
This is 24 hours after launch.
Yeah. Okay. Here's PS5, 3 out of 96 ratings. It's a 3.0. It's a 1.7
So not good.
on
People are
Xbox
not
Series
having
X,
fun.
and it's a 0.9 on PlayStation 4.
I feel
Yikes.
bad. I feel bad for the
Ouch.
developers, but
I don't think it's that.
No, it's not. Like, here's
It's not.
sucks.
It's not that broken.
It's,
No.
it's really not. And here's what I'll say is there's been a lot of great co-op games that have come out this year. I think of Dying Light 2. I think of Tiny Tina. There was Salt and Sacrifice. I don't know if that was this year. But this is the game that Jason and I keep going back to every night. And this is the game that we keep playing. And we have laughed to the point of crying multiple times. I have been a snotty ass mess. We audibly just laugh all the time. And it's not like a little chuckle. It's like full on laughing. And I love that this universe exists where you can go and you can hijack a car and you can run to a fire hydrant. You can put people in they run up to it and they just go spraying everywhere. Or your car goes like across buildings. It's hilarious and it's fun. And it all comes down to expectations. And I'm glad this game exists.
Do you think that if they had made this game a $40 game, like a $39.99 price point, or even cheaper, that people would have not come at it so hard? A la Goat Simulator, a game that's very obviously broken and celebrated how broken it was, but people still had fun and laughed while they were playing it, to the point that they had this ridiculous Goat Simulator 3 trailer that we just watched, and everyone was like, yes, I can't wait for this broken nightmare mess again.
I mean, that's the hard thing, right? Like, personally, I was given a review code, but I would pay $60 for this game
I would
like
too.
right now.
I would.
You know, the amount of hours and entertainment it has provided to me, it's so worth it, you know, especially when you have a child at home and
The laughs are important, man.
You need an escape, and this has given us something, a game that we are trying to finish, and we're excited to finish. And to me, like, you can't put a monetary price on that escape in the evenings. So, like, yeah, I would do that. But I'm also the person who would pay and who has paid full price for a Call of Duty campaign because I love the experience it gives me. But yeah, from like a PR general perspective, I think if you had put that price tag on it, probably would have been received a little bit better.
I think Black Friday is probably going to be cheap for sure.
Yeah.
But I have to say also, we haven't talked about the soundtrack. I love.
my God, it's
Oh,
so
yeah,
good.
the music is great.
Love the
So
soundtrack.
good.
As a person that grew up in the '90s,
Oh, it's so good.
especially with hip hop, they have a lot of old school songs there. Even TLC. I'm like, oh man, this is pretty cool. TLC, DMX.
The license team went off.
Tribe Called Quest. Oh, I love the soundtrack.
Yeah, me
Love
too.
it. Yeah.
The music is really, really great.
Yeah.
So clearly, y'all need to decide for yourselves what your dollars are worth. But no, this game, it has some broken jank to it. It's got some issues, but it's dumb fun. And if you want some ridiculous ragdoll physics, if you want to fly around, if you want to dress yourself up in ridiculous
the clothing
costumes.
option.
Turn your friend into a mailbox.
Exactly. And
You
the
wanna
prank
fly around?
system. Saints Row, yeah.
Wingsuit flying around.
The wings
I
is
had
great.
a really tough time controlling that.
Yeah, so does Jason. And I don't know why.
Why?
I suck landing. I
LT.
could fly. I did. But every time I tried, my character just.
Is this how women are better drivers than men?
Oh,
kind of
I
scenario?
nailed the wingsuit. You
Really?
can even fly the wingsuit and
Yeah.
launch off of a car and
Right?
go back
Yeah,
higher.
yeah.
I'll let you control it because I'm terrible.
I actually have this game clip saved, and I should give it to you so you can put it in the show, Andrea. But essentially, like, Jason and I are flying out the top of the highest building in the area. We're landing on this little cute island, and I land with my little graceful wings, and I land. I do a little like a little somersault, and I'm like, I'm here. And then 2 seconds later, Jason just goes kaboom, tumble, 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 and then he stands up, does a little like hip thrust emote, and then he runs away. And I'm like, yep, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just.
Maybe it's just
I
a man
guess,
thing.
Work on your skills.
I'll drive around.
I'm so happy this game's a thing, though. That's all I'm gonna say.
That was a good hands-on segment.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Indeed.
Lots of opinions.
Yes.
So the real question is, do we talk about this game that we previewed, or do we save it for next
I think
week?
we save it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think we save it because, Danny, I would love to talk to you about this amazing book that you are
Oh
part of.
yes. Wait, let me show it again.
Let's see it. Okay,
I'll
let's
prop-
get it closer. So, Danny, you have been doing all kinds of press and talking about this amazing book. Danny Loves Video Games, which you can buy on Amazon right now. We'll put the link in the show notes for everybody who wants to get it. I've got my pre-order copy
Thank you.
already.
Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would love to hear about how you got involved with making a children's book.
Yeah, so I got together with my cousin. We were in Miami, and he took us out to eat. And he was like, "Danny, I just love your story. I've been through there with you, you know, because we used to be promoters and we used to do a lot of like production work back in the 90s and stuff. And he was like, I want to share that to the world, like, because he's been doing a children's book with his wife for a while, and it's called Two Quality People. And I like the concept. Like, you know what, let's do it. So we sat down. I broke it down, like everything that what happened with me when I started with podcasting and gaming. And we turned it into a book based on a true story about my life. So I'm very excited to share this to the younger generation, especially for me as a kid, Latino kid back in New York. My dad, and there was even people from my family, they were like, oh, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. And I want to like educate that generation. If there's people that will have kids in the future, for them to support the kids. Like, you know, I had a dream since a kid. There probably going to be others too. And I just want them to get that support too, you know. So that's my goal out of all this.
Absolutely.
And I want to show kids that, hey, dreams do come true.
That's
you know,
wonderful. I love that you are telling your personal story, because clearly you've done so much work building not only your personal brand, because you've done so much on just as I'm, you know, Danny Pena, like Gamertag Radio founder, but this idea that you've been working in podcasting for X amount of years and working in video games, and you, like us, frequently get people coming to you saying, how do I do what you do? You know, what can I do to make it a career? And I think that question, which is, you know, obviously not what we're going to answer right here,
we have a very long answer.
It's something that a lot of kids are like, what is this career to me? And I think what's really special about this is, like, we all, I mean, young Brittany and Rhea maybe aside, grew up with this idea that you could never have a job in video games. That wasn't a thing that you could have ever. And you included are like, hey, but I'm going to make it a thing.
Yes. Since a very young age, I wanted to start a business with gaming. It was because of my grandmother buying me that Atari 2600 for the first time. And I remember Brittany.
Yes.
Yeah, find the
Brittany.
page, Ree.
I remember, and I will never forget this conversation. We were at the Fortnite party at E3.
I do remember this
And
now.
we were talking.
Yes.
We were talking about this. Like, yeah,
Your
my
grandma's?
Yes.
grandmother gave me an Atari
Absolutely.
2600. She doesn't know anything about gaming, but that moment completely changed my life for me. And Brittany was like, my grandmother too.
Yes,
Right?
I absolutely. We were talking about this earlier, and I was like, and then when you mentioned your grandmother, I'm like, that's right. I'll never forget that. Yeah, I mean, you know, my grandmother also got me into video games because she still plays video games. She's 82.
Yeah.
She kicks ass in all the JRPGs. And yeah, that was a really special moment, because how many people do you know who you can be like, my grandmother did this for me?
Yeah, but it could be a friend, it could be
anyone.
parents, anyone, right? So that moment inspired me to, I mean, really get into gaming. But then once I was in my teens, I was living in the Dominican Republic with my mom. You know, my parents got divorced when I was like around 5 or 6 or so. So when I moved to DR with my mom, I came up with an idea. I had a lot of Super Nintendos and a lot of Sega Genesis, and I told her, Mom, can we rent an office and we have all my consoles? We probably get TVs, and I'm gonna charge people per controller to play my games. And she's like,
Wait, how many Sega Genesis and Super Nintendos did you have?
I had 3 Sega Genesis, maybe 5 Super Nintendos.
What? Why?
I mean,
mogul.
I can't remember that time. I can't remember, but I had a lot.
Hustler.
and also I had a lot of games. And then my mom said, yeah, let's do it. So I rented an office, and I was just charging people to play Mortal Kombat 1, 2, Donkey Kong
Look
Country.
at you, little entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I was like maybe 13, 14 years old during that time.
I
And
never
was,
heard this story, and I've known
I
you for a
didn't know about
long
this
either.
time, Danny.
I always wanted to start a business with gaming, and I made so much money that I even bought a motorcycle in the Dominican Republic.
Get
yeah.
out! Hold
Yeah.
on. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were 14.
14, 15, or it was like around that time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can't remember how old you were, but
But
you
I
bought a
was young. I was
motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I made money, and my mom was like, all right. My dad was more of like, son, I know you love video games, but it's not going to pay the bills. So it took a while for him to see the vision. And years later, I'm already in my 20s now. Well, actually, no, in my 30s. And I got inducted to the Podcast Hall of Fame.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
by the way.
thank you,
People
thank
didn't know.
you. And then Miami Herald interviewed me. So then I mentioned to my dad, "But I'm in the front page of the newspaper, Miami Herald. Go to the supermarket, buy it." He's a cab driver, so he's always driving around. And he went to the supermarket, bought a newspaper, and started reading it. And he called me crying. He's like, "Son, I don't know what it is that you do, but I'm super proud of you. Super proud of you." And that's what this is the reason why I made that book. I want to teach parents that doesn't know anything about gaming, for them to have an open mind and also support their kids, man, if that's the career that they want to go into,
I think we can all relate with that. My mom and dad still don't know what I do. They don't quite understand it.
It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my in-laws don't quite get it. So how did you stay motivated to do this video game industry shenaniganry when everyone around you was like, I don't know if there's a future in that.
It was not an easy path for me, but I just kept on going. And also having friends that also have the same vision as you and support each other. Like Paris and Pete, they're like my
And you mean those
brothers
guys
to
you
me.
hate on the internet?
Yeah.
Yes, with the angry tweets.
Always hate.
Angry tweets.
Angry red
Yeah.
emoji.
Always.
But look, I started the podcast with my brother, and my brother was very young. He was like 18, 19 years old, hanging out with friends, and he stopped podcasting. But then I
Wait,
started.
which brother was that?
No,
Oh.
Daniel Pena.
That one.
He's now he works in the gaming industry now with Tara Bruno. Shout out to him. And everything. And with Paris and P, my co-hosts, we always motivate each other. There's been times that I just don't want to do it anymore, and they're like, nah. We always support each other, and motivate it. So that's why I kept on going. And plus, I got to see the vision. Like there's pictures of me messing around with my dad's tape recorder, because he used to be a DJ back in the 80s, and this is me as a kid. I will record anything, whatever's in the background. Like I have the TV on, I'll record it, and then at night I will listen to the cassette, whatever I recorded, and I'll vision the scene, whatever's recorded from the show, like for like a TV show, something like that. Yeah. So I always wanted to mess around with tape decks and cassettes
Young
and everything.
producer Danny at work.
Very young.
That's how you
producer.
got your nickname from your family, El Científico.
Yeah, they call me Científico, which is the scientist, because I always will break. I will break something and it will fix it. Or if somebody has an issue like with their TV, I'm like, don't worry, I got it, and I'll fix it and everything.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah. So
Fixes a lot of things.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people don't know, like that the store that I had or arcade. I don't know what you want to call it, but I had that. Also with podcasting, like I will go to the stores. At that time, there was only iPods. There was no smartphones. So it's either the PC or an iPod. So I'll go to the store, pass out flyers. If there's like a midnight launch, and there's people in line, and I'll tell them, listen to my radio show. I will never mention the word podcast, because then people will say, oh, so I need an iPod in the early 2000s,
Right.
in order to listen to a podcast. I'm like, no, just go with your PC.
Hence
You're
the
good.
name Gamertag Radio.
Yes. So originally back
So you're saying like we should name our show "What's Good Games Radio"?
good shit, right? Back then. Yeah.
Andrea.
We'll get on
There
Sirius
you go.
XM.
What's good?
Yeah.
No, but another thing too, when I started Gamertag Radio, I will always record through the Halo 2 Xbox Live lobby.
Oh, really?
That's how I interview Major Nelson and a bunch of other people through
That's
that.
amazing.
Through Xbox Live, yeah.
Scrappy, everyone.
Yeah. So
Gotta
I did
be
it like, I
scrappy.
mean, the quality was terrible. There was no Skype at that time, nothing like that. Yeah. So
But
listen,
listen, like, yeah.
You did what you could.
of course,
Make
I
it
mean,
work.
look, like in a month, actually in a couple of weeks, we're going to Miami. We're having a sign in and also reading event for my book. So it's gonna be like around 100.
When
people
and
or
where
so.
is that for people who maybe are in Florida?
September 15th. That's in the Kendall area, Kendall Lakes branch library. We've been working with the Miami-Dade County libraries. We're working on trying to see if we can have all the books all over Miami and everything. And one of the libraries, which is super close to the one where at that time I had no computers, and I would just go to the library, and that's how I learned how to design a website through angelfire.com and all that stuff. So,
Kids,
yeah,
you
so-
have no idea how
Oh,
good you
Kids
have
don't know.
it.
They don't know.
Yes,
They don't
they-
know.
I mean, I don't think that there's actually any kids listening to this podcast,
Andrea,
but
yeah.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy like how everything is like full circle. Even when I started my internet radio days in around 2001, I went to an event where It was Xbox. They were in town in New York City. This was 2 months after 9/11. They were there showing their console. And a week later, Nintendo were in town. They were showing GameCube, right? So I would show up over there with my video camera, tape recorder, start interviewing people. I even went up to Microsoft and I told them, hey, I have a radio show. Can I get a badge? And no questions about credentials, anything. They just gave me a media badge. So I had access like VIP and I got
You have a trustworthy face, apparently.
So I went in the back and I started talking to like all the original creators of Xbox. Got really cool with them. I was there for 48 hours. It was a 48-hour competition. I was trying to win a trip to Cancun and I didn't. And then at the end, they gave us everybody free Xboxes.
Oh, nice.
You
Worth
know,
the
and
time,
I was like,
then, I
oh man,
guess.
just showing up, recording content. All right, cool. So then a week after that, it was during the same week where GameCube was having an event. They invited me to go to the launch event, Xbox, at Times Square in New York City, at Toys R Us. So I went there, and Bill Gates was there, and they wanted me to play with Bill Gates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were playing.
I mean, you know, just a little thing. I was there
Yeah.
at Times Square playing with Bill Gates. No big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, so I got to play Fusion Frenzy with him. Terrible player.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he's not
Called
a gamer.
out?
It's true. So I did that, and then 20 years later, Twitch hit me up to be part of their Latino Heritage Month that they were celebrating here in the U.S. And they put me in billboards all over Times Square.
Yeah, they did.
And I took Ree over there too, and I was like, man, this is crazy. 20 years later, full circle.
Where you
same
got your
story.
start, yeah.
Yep. And that's the reason why I'm releasing the book on September 15th is because celebrate that. Celebrate. That was the date I also proposed to Ree, September 15th.
Aww,
Yeah.
cuties.
Yeah. And I know there was another reason too why I'm really. There was 3 reasons, but those are the 2
The
top.
Billboard anniversary, the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes, and when I
Proposal.
proposed.
Those are the
Yes,
3
there you go.
reasons.
Yeah,
3 reasons. There you
Great
go.
reasons.
Yeah.
good reasons.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's such
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
You
thanks.
have put in the work clearly,
Mhm.
and now look at you. You know, I've known you
Yeah.
for a long time, Danny, and this is really cool. Just as a friend, I'm really, really happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to support as many people as possible. Like I'm always giving back, like always helping. You know, even when
Yeah.
Andrea started What's Good, she was asking me podcast questions. Remember, Andrea? I'm like, yeah, you should do this, you should do that, because I
Yeah,
want.
I knew nothing about podcasting. My background was video, you know,
Yeah.
so I reached out to the people that I know that are, you know, people that have expertise in podcasts. And I was like, Danny, you got the longest running podcast in video games. Help me.
And here's the thing, like I've never been that person like, oh, I'm competing with so and so. I've never been
Oh,
that
no,
way
yeah.
ever. I'm always like
Rising
need help.
tides.
Yeah.
I want other people to succeed, and I feel like when you succeed, we all succeed. Like opportunities going to open up for everyone. So that's why I've never been in that type like trying to compete with other podcasts at all. You know, so like
That's how it works in real life. You help each other.
of
You build a
course,
community.
of course, yeah. And even now, this is like my goal, and it's been now for a couple of years. Years ago, I went to Dominican Republic. I was promoting a documentary over there. I did a media tour, and I want to know like how is the gaming community over there now. And I got to meet a lot of content creators, gamers, and a couple of developers. And every single person said to me, we feel left out over here. There's no workshops. There's no conferences. We have to like have like our own events and everything. And I had in my mind like for years, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something. So I started talking to gaming companies. One of them was Unity. And I asked them if we could do like a free event, like a workshop for developers over there. And we had like a free event, and we had like a good 200, 300 people there.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also worked with like university over there, in Tech it's called, and the capital of the Dominican Republic. And I was also had a session all about content creation. So I talked about like podcasting, because there was also content creators there. So I want people to share their dream as much as possible, and come up with like some cool games, and you never know in the future, you know. So that's my goal. I want to help out as many people as possible in the future. So especially in Latin America.
It's so
especially.
important to reach back where you came from and
Yes.
bring more people with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
indeed. And I love how the message in your book also reminds kids that have a vision that this isn't an overnight success, that you worked many years to get to where you are, and that while lots of us when we're young, we have big dreams of being movie stars or professional basketball players or whatnot, or like the next ninja, right? that those dreams are achieved through many years of hard work and commitment to building your craft and teaching and training yourself to be better every day. And I love that message is built into your book for kids. That's great.
You know, and I'm going to mention this to Reed because this was like a very important day for us. Like, you know, I grew up in the projects in New York, you know, with my family. You know, my mom was a single parent. It was very hard for her to, like, you know, raise me. And as a single parent, it was really, really tough, you know. And one day when we bought a house together, Riana, and when we got the keys, man, I started breaking down. Like I never in a million years thought that we were gonna be homeowners, you know. And that's the thing that I want to share that to everybody else, you know. That's the main reason I made the book, like, because you never know. You have a dream, go for it. It doesn't have to be gaming; it could be anything else, and you never know. You know?
Amen to that. And congratulations on your guys' new home. It's an amazing accomplishment. Yeah. And you can do it all through video games, kids.
Hey, go for it. Go for it.
You just got to believe in yourself and work hard.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
And find the right people to support you.
Yes.
And thank you for giving the opportunity to talk about the book. You know, this
of
is like a passion project for me. Like I'm excited. I'm can't wait to see like people reading this to their kids. Like there was one person that we used to go to school together, high school, and she hit me up privately on Facebook and was like, Danny, my child, I'm gonna have a granddaughter. She's not born yet. She's probably gonna be born around September, October, around there. I want to buy this book. Can you please sign it? I'm gonna read it to her when she gets older. I'm like,
yes, more young girls and
that's
games.
like,
That's it.
Yes.
and that's I'm like, wow, man.
I have these images in my head of like kindergarten teachers sitting in her chair, whatever, holding the book, a circle of kids gathered around and reading this kind of book. And I think it's really important. I mean, video games is still a medium that's frowned upon by the general public. You know, we use those issues you talk about in your book of people being like, well, hey, like, I don't know if you can actually make a career out of this. That still is a thing today. Not as much because you have Twitch. But no, I think that's so great. And again, like Andrea was saying, it all comes down to having a dream, committing to it, putting in the work for it. And if this inspires people and children, like, dang, dude.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited. You know? And I hope you girls could do a book too. Like, I would love.
Listen,
that.
I've got ideas. I've got
I would love
ideas.
that.
I'm
I'll
ready
be the
to go.
first person
Whiskey
to buy.
lullabies.
Yes,
Let's
whiskey
go.
lullabies.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's do it. And I will support y'all all the way if you make it happen.
Thank you so much. Well, listen, everybody, if you're watching at youtube.com/westgoodgames, you can see Danny Loves Video Games is right there, and we'll have the links in the show notes below. But Danny, where else can people go to learn more about you, what you're doing in your book?
Oh, in English and in Spanish.
Oh, it's in English and Spanish. You can find me, you know, anywhere. Well, all social media. Look up Godfrey. I'm there. Social media, Twitter, Instagram. Gamer Talk Radio. We're in every podcast app out there. Just search Gamer Talk Radio and listen to the podcast. Yeah, we'll be there.
Wherever you listen to What's Good Games, you can also find Gamer Tag Radio. It's great.
There you go. Well,
Danny, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. We look forward to having you back on the show, of course. And everybody, you heard it. The book is out September 15th. Hopefully you all go out and get it. And I told Danny, from a small baby parent who needs non-rippable pages, that we're working on a board book copy. Fingers crossed. But until then, I've got the beautiful one with the big colorful pages that I will hold very far away from the small child.
So there's Kindle version, paperback, and hardcover. Okay. The paperback will come out. You can start pre-ordering that. I think September 15th now.
All right.
There you go.
Good for airplanes, you know, when you're traveling. Keep it light.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode. We will see you next week. Goodbye.